Hey everyone, it's me again, Tad Scritchfield, and I'm here to present to you on some composers of the Reformation. So, let's get started with Jan Pieterszoon Swielijk. He was the leading composer of the Netherlands, and he lived from 1562 to 1621. According to Hosem.com 2011, quote, his only known teachers besides his father were Jacob Buick, pastor at the Oude Kerk, Amsterdam, and Jan Willemzoon Lassie, a countertenor and shawm player at Haarlem, who taught him not organ but composition. End quote. By 1580, he was employed as an organist at the Oude Kerk, where he was to play twice a day for an hour in the church. He started gaining infamy when people heard his exceptional improvisations at the organ and harpsichord. Later in life, Swielijk became a teacher. He was in high demand for lessons in organ and composition. Swielijk had a lot of influence on a lot of people because of this, like Andreas Dubin, Peter Hasse, and Jacob Praetorius. He composed over 250 vocal works, which were all printed, and 70 keyboard compositions. And you can go ahead and head out to the first link to listen to one of his compositions. Now, Giovanni Pierluigi de Palestrina is the greatest composer of liturgical music of all time. He was born in 1525 or 26 in the town of Palestrina, and he eventually died in 1594. He first served as a choir boy at the Church of Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome in 1537, and later was appointed to an organist and maestro di cappella at Palestrina Cathedral in 1544 under Pope Julius III. 3 years later, he married Lucrezia Gori and had 3 kids with her, Rodolfo, Angelo, and Iguino. Only Iguino survived because of the plague in the 1570s, and after Lucrezia died in 1580, Palestrina remarried to a very wealthy woman named Virginia Dormali. And because of Virginia's wealth, Palestrina was able to publish his own music. Later, the Council of Trent charged him and another composer with revising the official chant books. And Palestrina worked on this up until his death, and they were not even published until 20 years later. He was very well known as a composer during his lifetime, but it was not until after he died that his fame grew tremendously, and people started calling him the Prince of Music. This is shown by the sheer number of his works, with over 100 masses, 300 motets, 150 other spiritual and liturgical compositions, and over 90 secular madrigals. Palestrina composed more masses than any other composer, which is pretty amazing. So, you can go ahead and head out to the second link. Johann Walter, a German composer, served as a musical advisor to Martin Luther. He was born in Cala, Thuringia in 1496. Although Walter worked for Luther for most of his life, Luther was not his first employer. It was Frederick the Wise, Elector of Saxony. Walter started working for Frederick in 1520 as the bass cantor, and it was when Frederick died in 1525 that he began working for Martin Luther. Under Luther, Walter wrote more than 40 polyphonic works that were comprised into a book called Gesduce Gesänge. It's really hard to pronounce. Gesduce Gesänge Buchlein. That's what it is. It's crazy. Later editions of this book contain 47 Latin and 74 German pieces. Later in 1525, Luther asked him to compose a sacred service in the German language, which once published became known as the Deutsche Masse. Also during this time, Walter became the cantor of the town choir of Torgau in 1548. Walter wrote his pieces in two individual styles. The first style was polyphonic, and the tenor voice was a cantus firmus. The parts above and below the cantus firmus were counterpoints that imitated the tenor, sometimes but mostly moved independently of it. Now, Book-Reg says, for the second style, Walter rejected imitative or independent voice leading for choral writing, in which each fragment of the cantus firmus rested simultaneously with the other parts. End quote. So you can go to the third link and check out one of his pieces. Now, Thomas Tallis was the leading English composer of his time. His exact date of birth is not known, but historians put it around 1505, and he died in 1585. Tallis served as an organist in different churches and monasteries, including St. Paul's Cathedral and the Dover Priory. In 1542, he continues his musical career in the Chapel Royal, serving under Henry VIII, Edward VI, and Queens Mary and Elizabeth. With his most famous student, William Byrd, by his side, Tallis started printing vocal music after he acquired a monopoly right from Queen Elizabeth I in 1575 until his death. Tallis explored many different styles of composing, but centered his focus around choral music, and his polyphony was mostly choral or homophonic. So you can go out to the fourth link and check out that song. It is the same song that Elena had us listen to on Friday, but you'll be listening to a different section of it. And this song is really awesome. It's my favorite thus far in the semester. And I hope y'all enjoyed this presentation and all the listening examples. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.